Okay, today we are dealing with a very important topic. How do you work with a difficult boss? And who is a difficult boss anyways? So this seems to be a very important topic, right? The reason is that in Ghana, one of the challenges people have in the workplace is the kind of leader who they are working with, right? Most of the time, when Ghanaians are working with leaders who are coming from foreign countries, they tend to see them as difficult bosses. And that determines to a large extent how we work with expatriates, right? Ghanaians generally don't see many Ghanaian leaders as difficult. I don't know if that has something to do with the cultural differences and the demands, but today we will get to know who a difficult boss is and how we can work effectively with them. Because if we are going to be working in international companies, chances are that we will work with leaders who are expatriates, people coming from different countries, and most of the time they are the leaders in the company. And we have to learn how to work with them, right? Another thing is, the people we call difficult bosses, who seems to be most of these expatriates, are coming from countries that are far more advanced and doing much better than our country. Could it be that what we are calling difficult is the reason why they are making progress? That is another thing that we would want to find out. But let's get right into this. I'm very excited to start. And I know that today we are going to learn quite very nice ideas. Okay. So first, as usual, we start with our goals, right? So what do we seek to achieve with this meeting? First, we want to help you to protect your mental health if you are working with a difficult boss, right? A lot of people are going crazy in the workplace because of the people they are working with. They just can't keep up. And each day looks like something that they just have to get through. They don't enjoy the work, and definitely they are not contributing very much because of the relationships that they encounter at work. Okay, so we want to help you manage your mental health. If anything at all, the most important part of your job is protecting your health, and your mental health comes first. If you have a sound mind, you have a sound career. If your mind is not sound, chances are that you will not be able to give your best. So that is our first objective. And then the second objective is to protect your values and dignity. You as a human being, you have values. There are things that are very important to you. You have goals, and you have things you want to achieve, right? Most importantly, you are a human being and you deserve some respect. So you want to protect that. And then finally, you want to protect your career. Okay, you have a job. Probably your job pays the bills. It takes care of people around you, your family, and many people are looking up to you. It can be that you will lose your job because of a person, right? So these are the three things that we want to be mindful of. Now, I want to start by looking at the rights of a leader, okay? So because the reason why we see people as difficult is because they are doing something that we don't like. And the reason why we don't like it is because it doesn't sit well with what we know or what we believe they should be doing, right? So it is important that first of all, we understand the rights of the leader. Now, for a leader, regardless of which position he functions in, there are a few rights that a leader enjoys. The first is that he has the right to assign or delegate a task to a subordinate, right? So if your boss assigns a task to you, he hasn't done anything wrong. If he assigns more tasks to you than you can handle, he still hasn't done anything wrong, right? You have to let him know that you can't handle the task, and then you can negotiate the task. For example, you can let him know, oh, you've already assigned me 2 tasks, and this is the third one. Can it wait, or can you reassign it to someone? Okay. Most of the time, the boss might not even know that you don't have the time to be able to finish it. So you need to let him know. Okay. So assigning a task to you and assigning too many tasks or maybe difficult tasks doesn't make someone a difficult boss. It is his right to do that. Okay. And then number two, the boss has the right to maintain high work standards. High achieving companies have high standards. Okay, they have high expectations. The difference between companies that are growing very fast and achieving results and those that are not doing so well in the competition is all in the standard. High achieving companies where high standards are maintained are always the best companies around. And so your boss has the right to maintain that kind of standard and refuse to take laziness and irresponsible behavior or bad attitude towards work. If he is doing that, he hasn't done anything wrong. It is his responsibility, and to a large extent, he's right to do that. Your boss has the right to discipline you if you go wrong. One of the responsibilities of a leader is to discipline those who break company rules and values. Okay, so in the process of enforcing that, if you happen to be a victim of it, he hasn't done anything wrong. He's trying to discipline you so that you can be on track for the company to function well. So if you break the rules, you should subject yourself to the right disciplinary procedures. Another right, and I'll end with this, there are many of them, but I'll end with this one, is that your boss also has a right to a personal life. Okay? He has a right to live his life. For example, if you see your boss drinking alcohol at the end of work in a bar with his friend violently, he hasn't done anything wrong to you. It is not the expectation that you want for him, but he hasn't offended you. He has a right to an individual life. He doesn't owe you how he should live his life. All right? He has a right to enjoy his wealth too. So, for example, if you are hungry or you are in lack, serious lack, and your boss has so much money that he's throwing it around, and but he has paid your salary, he's not willing to give you an extra bonus or something, and he's throwing the money away. He hasn't done anything wrong to you. He earned his money. Probably at your age, he was struggling. He had nothing. So the time you met him is the time that he happens to be enjoying his wealth. He doesn't owe you any explanation as to how he should use his money. So if you find yourself in that situation, you are not dealing with a difficult boss. You are just dealing with a human being who has the right to live his life the same way that you have the right to live your own life, right? Okay. Now, where does the rights of a leader ends? Okay. First, a leader does not have any right to break company values and regulations or guidelines. We all do break company rules once in a while, but that doesn't make it right. Okay. So as a leader, he doesn't have the right to break the rules or the values or the organizational rules. Two, your boss does not have the right to compel you to break company rules and values. So he doesn't have any right to compel you or to give you an instruction to do something that you believe the company does not allow, right? Anything against your personal value, your boss doesn't have the right to force you to go against that, okay? Your boss doesn't have the right to cheat you in terms of remuneration or salary. If you have an agreement or you signed an agreement before you started the work, and in that agreement, he was supposed to pay you a certain amount of money at a certain time, he owes you that. He doesn't have the right to cheat you, okay? And he doesn't have the right to abuse you either, to force you against your personal values and abuse you or humiliate you. He doesn't have the right to do that. You have the right to mutual respect. And so if a boss is going against is going outside his rights and beyond these limits that I've mentioned, that is a difficult boss. Okay? But if the person is acting within the rights that I mentioned earlier, He's not a difficult boss. He's just a normal person acting within the right rules that are set in every company. Okay, so know the difference between these two. If you find yourself in the second category that I've mentioned, then you are dealing with a difficult boss. If you find yourself in the first category, you have to learn how to work in that situation. It means that you need to come up to the level that you'll be able to have a good understanding with the system that is around you and work very well. So what are the challenges here? Okay, the main challenge of working with difficult bosses in our workplaces, especially in Ghana, is the lack of understanding of who a difficult boss really is. If you have been following, by now, you would have realized that many of the things that you thought would amount to a case where you are working with a difficult boss is not necessarily so. Okay. Once you have an understanding of the rights of the leader or the boss, and you have understanding of your responsibility as an employee, it answers most of the questions and already puts you in a position where many of the situations around you will not amount to the case where you are working with a difficult boss. Okay. The second challenge is the lack of courage to confront the situation. If you find yourself in the second category where your boss is not really staying within his rights, and you have a challenge with that, most people lack the courage to confront the situation, to maybe sit down and discuss it with the boss. In the case where the person has the courage to confront the situation, usually many people lack ideas as to what to do. Okay, and then in the last case, there are many situations where people have an idea of what they want to do, but they are waiting for the right moment to react. Okay, so I mean, you've probably heard this where someone says, okay, this is the last time, the next time he does that, he will see. Okay, that is not the right way to act. You are saying that the next time the person makes you angry, you will react in anger. And when you react in anger, your mind ceases to work. Okay, so you are not able to make most of the situation. So you don't want to react in anger. You want to act proactively. So it means you want to think about it, devise a plan, and actually execute it at a time when you are not angry, so that you get the best out of the situation and understand what is really going on, right? Okay, so now what is the solution? I want this video to be very short today. What is the situation? I've already explained the situation. Now, the second part, what is the solution? The first thing you do if you found yourself working with a difficult boss is first to ask the question, is he breaking any company rules? That is the first question. So you assess the situation, and in assessing the situation, you ask questions. The first question you ask is he breaking any company rules? Number two, is he acting intentional? Is he acting intentional? Okay, there are many cases where we've broken the rules, but it wasn't intentional. Probably he didn't even know that what he's doing amounts to breaking the rules, or what he's doing offends you. Okay, so you need to find out if the person is offending you and what he's doing is against organizational rules. And if he understands that what he's doing, he really knows what he's doing and he's doing it intentionally. Then number three, is it a habit or a one-time action? Has he been doing that always? Or he just did it once? You need to differentiate between behavior and action. Or let me put it this way, character and a one-time behavior, if that will clarify it. People may have a character of doing wrong all the time, and they are just probably violent against you and trying to do things that will hurt you all the time. But there are also times that people have behaved in a manner that you didn't like, but that is not how probably they are. But it's just a one-time situation or a few occasions that they behave that way, probably because they were going through things around that time. So you need to examine that situation and find out if this is the character of the person, or he's just acting this way as a one-time action. Then the final question, does he have a reputation of doing such? If you ask people around, is there a general idea that this is how this person acts? Because most of the time you are not working alone, you are working with other people. Are other people around you seeing your boss the same way that you see him, as someone who is very difficult to work with, and that the person is breaking company rules and probably putting up a behavior that is very difficult to tolerate and work with? Okay. Once you've asked all these questions, it will bring you to an understanding as to whether the person just did this once, or it is a habit or a behavior that he's putting up to, or he has a character of doing this, and he has been doing it to many people, and now he is seeing you as someone to take that kind of behavior from him, right? Number two, so once you are through with the assessment, the second thing you do is to use the right approach. Okay, muster some courage, sit down, think through, muster some courage, and then take a proactive approach. It means that you have to approach your boss and actually talk about this, discuss this. Okay. I want to make this very clear. Never react. So don't wait until the person makes you angry and then you react out of the anger. Usually, when you react out of anger, you worsen the case. You want to make this an intentional approach. Sit down, think, and devise a plan, and go sit down and talk through with him. And usually, many people respect you if you are able to do that, because many young people generally can't go that way. All right. So be proactive, not reactive. Then find the right time when your boss is more relaxed, comfortable, and ready to talk. And then you can go there. Most of the time, you can start with maybe even something that has nothing to do with this. Just set the tone, and then when the tone is right, you can go ahead and begin to discuss these things. Then approach him the right way, okay? Regardless of how evil you think the person is, he deserves some respect. Every human being has dignity. And the last time, I think in one of the videos, I explained that the reason why we respect people is simply because they were created by God. God made every human being in his own image and likeness. And that is the only reason why anyone deserves respect, right? It's not because they are rich or they have a position. So regardless of how he has treated you, he deserves some respect because he was made in the image and likeness of God. So approach him with respect. Most importantly, he's your boss, and you have already learned that you honor authority. So give him that honor that he deserves in discussion, in your discussions, or in discussing these issues. Then number three, if you discuss these issues with him and you realize that he's not willing to back down and he continued to exhibit that behavior for a very long time, but it is something that you can deal with, that means it is not really out of hands, right? What you do is to draw the boundaries, okay? And there are two boundaries that you can draw very clearly at work. You can draw a physical boundary. Now, physical boundary means that you don't sit with the person or you don't get close to the person except when you are going to work together. Okay? So there are many people that naturally you hang around with at work, but these kind of people, you only get close to them if it is required that you do some work together, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you continue to get hurt and you may one day react violently. And then when you react violently, they will see you as the problem, not the person, right? Okay, so draw that physical boundary. You only meet with the person and talk around or hang around with the person if it is required for work. Then you draw a communication boundary. The communication boundary is not that you don't talk to the person. Hello, hi is fine, but you don't engage in a lengthy communication except when you are in a team working together. All right? So if it is required for you to work together, then you want to talk to the person. If you are not working, you have no business going to hang around talking with the person to bring about any challenge or any confrontations, right? So draw these two boundaries if you realize that the person is not willing to change and understand your situation. That will give you some peace to work and execute your tasks effortlessly. If you draw these boundaries and the person is still infringing those boundaries and forcing himself in ways that are unacceptable, then you may want to consider quitting. And to quit, you quit the right way, right? You quit leaving the door open. You don't shut the door when you leave. Okay, so this is what you do. You look for the chain of command. So your boss is the next line of action, and then your boss has a boss. You don't go from your boss to the next boss to report him. What you do is to submit a resignation letter through your boss app. In some companies, you don't even need to deal with your boss. You can deal with HR directly. So in that case, you just go to HR and discuss it with HR. That this is the situation you found yourself in, and you would want to either be moved to a different team or you would want to resign, and discuss that with HR. Okay, that is something that you can always do. Okay, and then please, before you leave, maintain cordial relationship with everyone, including your boss who made you angry, and probably he's the reason why you are leaving, because you don't know what tomorrow holds. And also, you earn a lot of respect if you leave without necessarily making the whole thing look like it's a personal problem. No, you wanted to work there and achieve your goals, and you found out that the environment is just not good for you, and you are leaving. There isn't too much personal feelings in this. You just discuss it with them and you leave in a very cordial way. Mutual agreement, and then you leave, right? So these are the ideas that I have when it comes with dealing with difficult bosses. Once again, assess your situation to see if really the person you are dealing with is a difficult boss. Because, as I said, most of the time, what we call a difficult person is just someone who is upholding a different set of values that we are not accustomed to. Okay, so we come to the workplace with different values, and the company also has its values. If the person is acting within his values and his values are not breaking company values, he hasn't offended you in any way. But if he's acting in what he calls his values, and it violates company values, that is not something that you want to really tolerate. And especially if the person is doing that as a habit and doing it that for a very long time. Okay, in that situation, the ideas that I've shared, I hope that they will be very helpful to you. Your mental health is very important. Keep your mind sound. Don't get depressed for any reason. And also try to respect other people's boundaries, and also give your best in any company that you find yourself. I wish you guys all the best, and I hope this was helpful for some of the situations that